Think about your body for a second. It's this incredibly complex, perfectly ordered system, a fortress, really. So how does one single cell go rogue? How does it manage to outsmart a system that's been perfected over millions of years? That's the mystery we're going to unravel today.
You know, right this second, as you're listening, your body is hard at work. It's like a super efficient factory with the best quality control imaginable. Specialized cells are on patrol, constantly on the lookout for anything that's damaged or just not working right, and they get rid of it. It's this silent, amazing process that keeps the whole system in balance.
But then, something goes wrong. A tiny glitch happens in one single cell. It's like a small error in its instruction manual, but it's enough to give this cell a brand new, dangerous idea. What if I just stopped following the rules? And its first mission is to learn how to hide. It develops these clever little tricks to fool the body's security force, the immune system, and it just slips right past all the checkpoints, totally undetected. And once it's through, well, that's when the real takeover begins.
So that's the big question, right? If our bodies are so good at defending themselves, how on earth does this one rebellious cell manage to not just survive, but actually thrive and build an empire? What's its game plan?
To figure this out, we have to think like detectives. We're going to follow the clues, and the very first one starts with how this cell goes from being a team player to a total runaway.
Okay, so think of it this way. Every normal, healthy cell in your body has these built-in brakes. They get signals that tell them when to grow, when to divide, and, this is the super important part, when to stop. It's like a city full of traffic lights, keeping everything moving smoothly and preventing total chaos.
But our rogue cell? It sees that red light, that stop signal, and it just floors it. It decides the rules of the road just don't apply to it anymore.
And what happens when you disable the brakes? Well, it's pretty simple and kind of terrifying. You get uncontrolled, non-stop division. The cell just starts making copies of itself over and over and over. This is step one in its master plan. But wait, there's a problem. All this growth runs into a major roadblock. See, normal cells can't live forever. So for its next big trick, this runaway cell has to solve the ultimate puzzle: how to cheat death. And this is so fascinating. On one hand, you have a normal cell. It's got this built-in expiration date. Every time it divides, the ends of its chromosomes, its internal clock, get a little bit shorter. But the cancer cell, it pulls off this incredible hack. It learns how to constantly rebuild those ends, essentially hitting the reset button on its own clock. It makes itself immortal.
And that's its second superpower, right there. No expiration date. It doesn't get old, it doesn't get tired, it can just keep on dividing forever, totally ignoring the natural limits that keep everything else in your body in check.
Okay, so now we have an immortal cell that's dividing like crazy. You'd think a growing army of clones would be pretty obvious, right? It's bound to attract some unwanted attention from the body's security guards, so its next challenge is to stay hidden, even when it's right out in the open.
So remember that immune system we talked about? It's like a 24/7 patrol. Your immune cells are constantly moving around, like guards with flashlights, checking the molecular ID of every single cell they come across. And if they find one that looks even a little bit weird or abnormal, their job is to take it out, immediately.
So what's the cancer cell's brilliant solution? It learns to wear a disguise. It puts on this kind of molecular camouflage that makes it look just like a normal, healthy cell. So when that immune system flashlight passes over it, nothing. The guard just moves on, completely unaware that the enemy is already inside the gates.
All right, so let's recap. It's immortal, it's invisible, and it's building an army. But a growing tumor is like a growing city. It needs resources, it needs fuel. An army can't just march on an empty stomach, so it has to figure out how to build its own supply lines.
And this is just wild. Here's how it does it. At first, the tumor is pretty small, and it's basically starving for nutrients. So it starts sending out these chemical SOS signals, tricking the body into thinking it needs help. And what's incredible is the body falls for it. It starts growing new blood vessels directly toward the tumor. The cancer literally hijacks the body's own infrastructure to get the fuel it needs for its takeover.
At this point, this is usually when we step in with our big guns, treatments like chemotherapy. But this brings us to the cancer cell's final and maybe its most impressive trick: becoming the ultimate survivor. So when a wave of chemotherapy hits, it's like a tsunami. These drugs are designed to kill cells that are dividing rapidly, which is exactly what cancer cells are doing. And at first, it seems to work incredibly well. Most of the cancer cells get wiped out, the tumor shrinks. It really looks like we're winning.
But here's the catch.
in that huge population of billions of cancer cells, there might be just one single cell that, by pure random chance, has a mutation that makes it resistant to that specific drug.
And that one survivor, that's all it takes. While all the other cells are dying off, this one resistant cell is just fine. And now, with no competition left, it starts to divide. And every new cell it creates carries that same resistance. It rebuilds the entire empire. Only this time, it's an army that our weapons can't touch.
So let's just put all the pieces together. How does a cancer cell outsmart the body? Well, first, it decides to ignore the most basic rules of the community. It throws out the rulebook on controlled growth.
Then it figures out how to cheat death itself, becoming immortal, and it puts on an invisibility cloak to hide from the very guards that are supposed to protect us. This lets it grow totally under the radar.
From there, it hijacks the body's own supply lines to build its own world, its own empire. And finally, when we throw our best weapons at it, it just evolves. It adapts, it survives, and it comes back stronger.
So you see, it's not just one trick. It's this whole cascade of brilliant but deadly innovations. It's a story of survival of the fittest playing out right inside of us. A masterclass in deception and rebellion on the tiniest possible scale. And that is how cancer outsmarts the body.